Is it cheaper to make your own butter? I have wondered this as people have left comments on videos that I have posted here. And can you make butter without an expensive piece of equipment that then makes it less cheap to make your own butter? And regardless of cost, is it something we want to be doing for any other reason? And is it even fun to make? So we're going to make butter, and then we're going to run some numbers and look at some of the variables and answer these questions. If you're new here, hi, welcome to my kitchen. I am Kezia, and my goal on the internet is to make lower footprint, sustainable living feel a little bit less expensive, a little bit less complicated, and just a whole lot more normal. And to show our family life as we step back from consumerism and find joy in things that are less expensive, but no less fun, and are inherently a lot better for the environment because we are consuming less. It all ties together. That's what we're doing here. Hit subscribe if you want to follow along. And this is going to be part one in a little series called Is It Cheaper or something like that, because sometimes I just like to run the numbers and people tell me something's cheaper and I'm a skeptic at heart, so I have to run the numbers myself. So this is part one. Is it cheaper to make your own butter at home? And regardless of the numbers, do we even want to do it? We're going to get started and talk about more things along the way, because we are going to try it without using any electricity and without using a countertop appliance, because I myself am guilty of saying that something is cheaper to do, like making our own nut butter. My husband can't eat peanuts, so we often make nut and seed butters, and I say it's so much cheaper to do yourself, and then I pull out an expensive Maggi mix to do it with. And so I thought it would be interesting to try out butter without electricity and without an appliance, not because I live off grid or aspire to live off grid, but just to see what it's like without an appliance and without power. And then as we go along, we will talk more about some questions like butter and sustainability. Do they even go together? We are starting with 600 mils of cream. Yes, it's from Waitrose, don't worry, we'll talk about that later. And we're going to pour it into our jar and then close it up. Now, I'm going to move this mic away from the jar. Essentially, the process of making butter is just separating the fat, the butter, from the liquid, the buttermilk of cream. So we started with double cream, which has the most fat. And you can use lots of different methods to agitate it, but we're using the energy-free, appliance-free method of just shaking it in a jar. We're going to see how long this takes and just how much muscle power it requires and how much I'm going to sweat in the process. We're going to set a timer so that you can see just how long this process takes. We're at 0. We're 3 minutes in. As we shake this, let's talk about sustainability, because meat and dairy, sustainability, how do they fit together? Well, I think one of the most sustainable things we can do in our kitchen before we debate how we eat is just to consume everything that we buy. 1/3 of the food produced globally is wasted, and that is a huge amount of food. And that creates waste of power, waste of water, waste in so many ways. In the UK, the stat is that the average family wastes £1,000, 1,000 quid's worth of food every year. But while there is a money aspect here, if that food is going in landfill, it doesn't decompose and compost, it creates greenhouse gases. It's a huge sustainability aspect to just eating the food that we bring in to our home. Now, obviously beyond that, we can debate what we eat and how we eat, and that definitely comes into it as well. But doing something like this and being able to turn something that might have gone to waste into something that is better preserved, because cream obviously goes bad a lot faster than butter, can be a massive sustainability win. Or you find cream that is yellow sticker cream. Sometimes there is so much cream in the supermarket that is just going to go to waste, especially after something like Christmas or Easter or Pancake Day. There's often a lot of cream with yellow stickers on that if it doesn't get used by the end of the day is going to get thrown out. It's going to go in landfill. And in those moments, it is actually more sustainable to consume the meat or the dairy than it is to not consume the meat or the dairy. We also do waste food pickups, where we pick up food that supermarkets are done with and is going to be thrown away. And sometimes that includes something like cream. And so we want to know, can we take that cream and preserve it, make it last longer and therefore not get wasted by doing something like this? Oh, I feel like something's changing. We're at 6 minutes 40. And is the volume increasing? Are we getting bubbles in there? I gotta keep going. The first thing that's going to happen is it's going to turn to whipped cream. Then once it's turned to whipped cream, the fat, the butter is going to clump together even more, and then it's going to separate out. Then we're going to wash it. So the washing it is taking off that buttermilk, which is what is going to turn cream bad. So taking that out helps preserve it for longer. But nothing's going to get wasted. We can then use that in pancakes or breads and different things. But the first thing we have to do is to turn it into whipped cream. And it's a long process. We're checking in. It is 11 minutes, 45 seconds, and we've hit whipped cream stage. Whipped cream. Look, we can see it is not dripping. We have got a light whipped cream. After 11 minutes, we're going to keep going, but the fat is starting to separate, so we're going to keep whipping. Okay, the update is that we are 18 minutes in and I am hot and sweaty. I'm wondering if this is a legitimate way to make butter, but we are getting some separation. You can begin to see that yellow part. It is separating out. We've gone to whipped cream. Let's open it and see. We have got whipped cream and we've gone a bit beyond whipped cream and we are beginning to get it actually separating out. So we're going to do it up and we're going to keep shaking. While we keep shaking, let's talk about cost, because obviously this all comes down to the price of butter and the price of cream. Fun fact, my first job when I left high school, sixth form, was working on a dairy farm and managing a herd of dairy cows. And I became very, very intimately acquainted with milk and the price of milk and what farmers get for the milk and how it changes at different times of year and what we're looking for in the milk. It's a very fascinating thing. We would fill this tank and every 2 days a big tanker would come. And I think at that point in the winter then, farmers were getting about 14 pence per litre of milk. Is shockingly low compared with what we pay for it. Okay, I think we gotta lose the cardigan. Side note, you don't need a gym membership, so it saves you money to do it this way. Oh, okay. Across the UK at the moment, pretty much every supermarket has a 250 gram pat of butter available for either £1.99 or £2. That is Aldi, Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, even Waitrose. They are all only about 1 pence different. Some pats look cheaper because they're only 200 grams, but for a 250 gram block, we're looking at £2. Do you want to know what that is in American dollars? That is $10.71 for a kilogram of butter. Currently, that is the price across the UK that we are looking. And then when we look at cream, cream is pretty much across the UK at all the different supermarkets. These are two things that are pretty consistent. We are looking at £5 for a litre of cream. So we're separating out. It's happening. It's happening. It's separating. Look at that. We've got a ball. Okay, we're at just over 20 minutes and it is now in a ball. We can begin to see some liquid separating out here. Can you see that running around the edge? We're beginning to get liquid separation. You can begin to see that liquid around the edge. That means that this across the UK is £3.60 or nearly twice the cost of a block of butter. So this is going to need to make us 2 blocks of butter at least to be cheaper than buying butter. 23 minutes. I'm going to say we can answer the first question, which is, even if this works, to do it without any kind of appliance, I'm not sure it's worth it unless it's for a science experiment or you just want to know how it works, or you're in a power cut and you desperately need butter and you happen to have cream and you want to preserve it better without a fridge. That actually is a legitimate use for this method. Okay, maybe I take that back. The most common way you see this happen is with a kitchen stand mixer. I do not have a kitchen stand mixer. The other ways that you can do it are with an immersion blender. You can also do it with a food processor. Basically anything that's going to agitate the fat enough to make it all separate is going to get you butter, even if that's a lot of bicep muscle workout time. Listen, can you hear this in the mic? We've got liquid. We have got a very definite ball of butter and a separate liquid. I think we did it. How long have we been going? My hands are shaking. We've been going 32 minutes. 32 minutes of this. We've absolutely got a liquid buttermilk and a solid butter. Okay, should we open it up? We made butter. We made butter. Look at that. Okay. But I'm intrigued to know how many grams of butter we're going to have after washing, because that is the key thing. Now, obviously, the buttermilk doesn't need to go in the bin, and the buttermilk can be used in things. If you're already buying buttermilk, then the numbers of this are going to be really different, because you're not just going to save yourself on butter, you're also going to save yourself on buttermilk. Final timer, 37 minutes, 22 seconds. Okay, I think the time has come to tip this out. So, we have got here a cold bowl of water. We're going to take the butter out of here and then measure exactly how much buttermilk we have so we can look at the cost of what that would have been. So, okay. Just 200 mils of buttermilk. So we can look at what the cost of that would be. And now we're going to take our butter. Oh, there's more coming out of it. More coming out. And we're gonna squeeze out the remaining buttermilk. I'm gonna preserve as much of the buttermilk as I can. And this is where we are. Now we're gonna dunk it in the water. You can see that buttermilk is coming out. We're gonna clean the butter. I do not think this is more than 2 pats of butter. What do you think?
No.
No, no way. Okay.
That's not more than 2.
No. Okay, thanks.
Might be 1.5.
Handsome assistant. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go round 2 of washing. All right, I'm gonna wash my hands and then we're gonna put this butter on the scales. Here is our butter. We have 295 grams of butter. This much butter at your average UK supermarket will cost you £2.40, but the amount of cream that it takes to make that at your average UK supermarket is going to cost you £3.60, so not worth it. If we then look though at 200 mils of buttermilk, that is going to cost you only about £1 at your average UK supermarket, maybe less, which means this will cost you £2.40, this will cost you about £1. That's £3.40 even if you're actually replacing buttermilk, which is still cheaper than making your own butter. Let's add in some salt though. So, I think we've got more packaging to do it this way. We've got more cost to do it this way, even if we're already buying buttermilk and we account for that cost as well. Now, I did this with 0 energy, but if you're not just using your own muscles, then you also have the cost of using an appliance, and you have either the initial cost of the appliance or the depreciation on the appliance from using it. I'm gonna put this in the fridge and then share one more thought. We're also going to put some toast in the toaster so we can do a tasting. Some homemade baguette, if you want that recipe. I will put it below. Let's pop it in the toaster. If you can get cream at a lower price, then it might be worthwhile to buy that cream and make butter. But what is the cost the cream needs to be to save you money? This is some maths that's going to go into this. Let's figure it out. If we say that we've had half the number of grams of butter than mils of cream, then we need 500 mils of cream to cost us less than the cost of butter, so less than £2. 500 mils of cream needs to cost us less than £2, or the litre price for cream needs to be less than £4. Now, this is a useful number to have because often cream is sold in different sizes, but most places will show you the per litre cost. So the per litre cost of your cream needs to be lower than £4 to save you money, and just a little bit higher than £4 if you're also someone who uses buttermilk and therefore has saved the money by making it. Let's get the toast and have a taste. It's very good. It tastes more creamy, I think, than regular butter. I do think it tastes better, even to me who's not really a butter person. It is nicer, I'm not gonna lie, it tastes different. I don't know if that's my brain playing tricks on me because I just made it, or maybe it's because I spent half an hour shaking a jar and anything is gonna taste better. I do think it tastes creamier. I really like the salt in it. I don't know that I'm going to be someone who makes my own butter because we are really focused on the cost of food, and this is not a cheaper way. However, if we were to find a lot of reduced priced cream and it went below that amount that we need it to be, that £4 per litre amount, maybe I would. It is, however, definitely something I would do with the kids to give them the experience and the joy of doing it, and I think it is also something I would do for hosting, and I think that's where something like this maybe does really come into its own, that to serve a homemade bread with a homemade butter, maybe make it a herb butter or garlic butter, or make it really special. It could be an amazing gift, or really make a hosting table extra special, and then it really does bring a joy that is worth taking the time and maybe the slightly extra spend to do. So there we go. That is our butter, is it cheaper analysis. So all in all, it's fun. I'm really glad I know the numbers. I love getting technical with numbers and knowing whether things really are cheaper or what is the price threshold to actually make them cheaper and worthwhile. It's definitely something I will do with the kids, but not something that's going to be a part of my everyday life. And if you are most focused on saving money, it probably shouldn't be part of yours either, unless you can find some seriously reduced price cream. So that is part one in our Is It Cheaper series. You can hit subscribe to catch the rest, or if you want to see a lot of how we eat every day, what goes on in this kitchen to feed our family on a very much below average food budget for the UK and the US, I will link that playlist on the screen. But thanks for joining. Thanks for doing this experiment with me. I'm gonna go rest my biceps, and I will see you in another video sometime soon. Thanks for joining.